Hello everybody, Raven Knight here, and welcome to another episode of How to Build, the series where I take you through all of my characters that I use or have told legends about and tell you how to construct them, what kind of armor sets they use, what kind of weapon sets they use, their executions, their designs, all that fun stuff. I've been starting the series off with a bang, really. A lot of you guys have really enjoyed it. Basically, the idea is y'all really like my legend series, and some of you have asked how to make your characters look like these, so I thought that I'd share some of those ideas with you. And in honor of today being the day that we had Shaolin's, event, Shaolin's whole Hero Fest with his new execution and everything, I thought it only right that we go ahead and make the next one about Bao Shin, who is my honorary Shaolin character. Now, for those of you who have watched the Legends video, you may notice that this version of Bao Shin looks slightly different. Well, that's obvious because over time, sometimes you edit your characters, you get better color designs or different ideas for them, and they just evolve over time. So this is Bao Shin's current look, although I will tell you some things you can change or adjust, seeing as how you want to do it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into talking about how to make Bao Shin. So first things first, in terms of armor, for the head, you're going to need to get the tie-by helm. Because when I was first designing Bao Shin, I was thinking of almost sort of a King David kind of look, and I really liked the tie-by look. It looked like a young man, like the beard looked very clean and kept, the hair looked almost like a shepherd's hair, so I thought this looked very solid. Now, I know that Shaolin monks should be more like this, no hair at all, but I just really like this look. I think it just fits for what I wanted Bao Shin to look like, especially since Bao Shin is a Christian monk. He has actually accepted Christ and moved away from his Buddhist roots, and yet he still fights as a warrior monk, so cool stuff there. For his chest, you're going to want the Chi Hong chest. That's right, you want the Chi Hong chest. That is important. I think it's probably one of the best that you're going to be able to get Bao Shin just right. And then for arms, the tie-by arms are fine. So again, tie-by helm and arms, but Chi Hong chest. Those are all important. Next, for the staff, you're going to want the Pharaoh's Curse shaft, the striking top, and the striking bottom. And I really like the way this one looks. It's really not all that ornate or big. I don't like the staffs where they have super huge ends on either side. That looks a little weird and clunky to me. I like it where it actually looks like a staff that you'd walk around with, something that you might carry around in a temple. I really do think that this looks the best that you're going to want to get. So you want the Pharaoh's Curse shaft, striking top, striking bottom. That's definitely the way you want to go. I really do actually feel like the Pharaoh's Curse shaft looks better than the striking shaft. So this is where you want to go. So one more time: tie-by helm, Chi Hong chest, tie-by arms, Pharaoh's Curse shaft, striking top, striking bottom. You get all these together, you got yourself a good look. Now, I will admit that in my original design of Bao Shin, I used the Holy set. So I used these ends on either side. I used those because with it being the holy set, I thought that would fit well for a Christian, pious, religious monk. But that's not what I did this time. I went with the striking because I just think that that looks a lot better. So, what do you guys think? Like that look? Awesome. All right, let's keep going. So, for traits, obviously it's going to be default 1. Can't change the gender. And as for skin color, this one's a little bit more important. I went with the final option. You can go with the first if you like, but the final option is really where you want to go. You want to get that sort of darker white look, kind of what you'd want to see from a character like this. It fades well with the colors on the armor and with the hair, so I like that a lot better. As for the ornament, you don't need one, but if you want to add one, there are 2 you can choose. You can choose either the coral horns or the Hudi, which is kind of a crown look. You don't need any of them. I usually like to go with the Hudi or the coral horns, but you don't really need any to make this work. I suppose you could also go the floral crest, but I've never been as big into that one. But yes, those are the 2 you want. All right, so for material, you want gold. The gold is important. You can go bronze. It won't make that big of a difference. And you could go torchlight if you like. It has to be a yellowish color. That's kind of what you're looking for. Marigold probably won't work as well. It's a little too bright. You want it to feel real. You want it to mix well with the rest of the armor. Like shading and melding into the rest of the armor colors is important here. Now for the chest, you want the Soar 2 paint pattern, which is acquired at Reputation 2, level 6. So this is an easy one to get. Just get up to Reputation 2, level 6. You got Soar. No symbol needed. and no embossing needed. So just the paint pattern is important here, okay? Paint pattern is important, soar 2. For the left arm, no paint pattern, no symbol, but the Sharp Tangles 1 embossing, which has gotten it level 19. Don't even need to be a reputation 1. Level 19 is when you get this one. It's a very nice chisel look. It looks realistic. You barely even notice it on the armband there. So I really think that one looks great on Shaolin. So a perfect one to put onto his arm. But if you wanted to add a different one, you could go Sharp Tangles 3, which is acquired at reputation 13, level 20. But since this one is easier to get at an earlier level, I think that's a great one for people starting out. You could also get Sharp Tangles 14, which is Sharp Tangles 4, which looks a little bit more prominent. You see it a bit better, but again, reputation 17, level 20 is when you get that one. So if you just want an easily acquired one, go for Sharp Tangles 1. For right arm, again, no paint pattern, no symbol. For this one, though, you want Gate of Memories 1, which is acquired at reputation 23, level 20. Now, one of the reasons why I'm not using any paint patterns or color for these is because I feel like with these gold protectors, I want them to be solid. I want them to look as steel as possible or as gold as possible. I want the metal to show off for them. I want it to look like Shaolin has put these metal bands on his body that are going to protect him. The more colorful they are, the less I really buy into them, the less I really care. I really like these to stick out. I want them to look partially like a piece of his armor, but also kind of like jewelry, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I look for there. Now for the back, we use Soar 2 again for the paint pattern, reputation 2, level 6. For your symbol, you're going to use Proper Conduit 2. This is acquired at with an outfit that you get at reputation 6. So you need to get to rep 6 in order to get this one, but this I think looks great for the back. A tie into his Chinese roots, it looks very beautiful, aesthetic, it looks very, very nice. Now, the reason why I use Soar 2 for both the front and the back is because you'll notice that it's a solid color for the upper part of the chest and the upper part of the torso, but when you get to the bottom, it turns into this really nice pattern that you can see down there. And I think the pattern works great for the lower body, not for the upper body. I like that solid look for the top. It matches the headband a bit more. So that's what you want to do for the back and front. Now, here's where things get tricky. When we get to the legs, there's nothing on Shaolin's legs, but if we zoom out, you can see that that draping cloth running down his leg is actually what we're going to be editing. There's no paint pattern on it because I want it to look like ordinary cloth, no symbol, but for the embossing, Sharp Triangles 5, which is acquired at reputation 19, level 20. That's a high one, but it is a good one to use. Most embossings will work for this, though, because what I look for more than color, people point this out, you don't use a lot of paint patterns or symbols, do you, Raven? Well, no, I really don't. I prefer texture. I prefer texture over the flashy colors. Colors to me are distracting. Colors to me look gaudy. I prefer texture. I want to make the item feel real and like it would actually have a mesh or feeling like sensation if I were to rub my hands on it. So that's what I look for. So now you know how to put all that together. So now the big question, what is the color pattern? All right, ready? For colors, I use the Hide color pattern, which is acquired at reputation 21, level 16. I don't know why. I really like the garnet and black look. It has a very nice wine color to it, which I think fits very well for this aesthetic. There's something about the red and gold that just gets me. I really like that look. But if you want to know what I used before this, like the old Bao Shin look, I used, where was it? Here it is. I used Chimera Dust. Now, in order to get the Chimera Dust coloration, you need the Scholars of Chimera Illustrious outfit. It's a little pricey, but I will admit it looks nice. It looks very rustic. It looks like something that you'd see him wearing like a real Shaolin monk wearing, almost like a real color that they would have. So this does look very realistic, I will grant you. So this is a good one to fall back on. But if you want it to look just like mine, go for the Hide, which is a reputation 21, level 16 color pattern. All right, awesome. I hope you liked that part. Let's move on to the other part. So for feats, I use the stealth feat first of all. I think the stealth works well. Bao Shin, now that he's accepted a different faith and isn't entirely connected to the Wu Lin, but he also doesn't belong with the Knights, he kind of goes under the radar. He kind of travels where he needs to. Like he was a literal unknown even when he met the Berserker that he ended up tutoring. So I wanted to have stealth. Blink is just an overall good perk to have for Shaolin, but I also think it kind of fits because, again, since he goes unnoticed, he may just be able to move super fast and get in those quick kicks. So I think that is a good one for him. I got Invigorate too, because not just because it's a good perk to have for Shaolin, but also because I feel like that Bao Shin himself would want to give like inspiration to his allies. He's the kind like I imagine him like when he's squaring off against his opponent, and then he does like a key attack, like a key based attack. He would be inspiring everyone around him, which would encourage them to fight harder. And then finally, now I can use one of two here. I can either go with Blessed Projection, but if I want to go more realistic, I go with Slippery. Because again, I feel like Bao Shin as a martial artist would be able to slip in and out of those guard breaks very easily. So those are the two that I would roll with. Blessed Projection, or Slippery. Those are the two that I would go with. Now, for executions, I go with Shua Peng, Cartwheel. I think this is one of my favorites of Shaolin's. Feng Bo. And now, Flare and Finesse, his new execution. And yes, I will inevitably do a grading for all of these, but I think that these all fit Shaolin incredibly well. I think that they are not only realistic looking executions that would fit who Bao Shin is and fit what he's all about, but I also think they show his martial capabilities. And the funny thing is, other than Cartwheel, I could see all of these with the person possibly surviving. Well, Flare and Finesse probably wouldn't survive that if it works the way it looks. But with most of these, like Feng Bo and Shua Peng, you could potentially survive these. And I feel like Bao Shin is going to want to avoid killing if he can, because, you know, he doesn't want to be a mass murderer. He wants to change the way he deals with things. Also, I'll admit, Maximum Shaolin is a tempting option just because of how funny it is. But if you're looking for the more realistic choice, I wouldn't go with it. For emotes, I use Sylvian Meditation, and I do use the Chimera Dust effect with it, because I feel like those could be pages of the Bible that are flying around him while he's meditating. It's a little unrealistic, but I think it just fits really well with his new belief system. And the Bard's Harp with the sheep emote, with the belligerent lamb effect. And the reason why is because since I originally was inspired to make him like King David was a shepherd at first who played the harp. So I thought giving him a harp and having a sheep show up behind him, I felt like that was just too good to pass up. So you definitely want the Bard's Harp with belligerent lamb effect and Sylvian Meditation for his emotes. And then for combat, you want to do Suo Di Hao and Manzuo. Those are both very respectful emotes to an opponent, so you can show some respect to other people, which is the way Bao Shin would want to be. For your signature, I chose Twirler, but really any could work with Shaolin for this. Bao Shin is pretty flexible like that. And for effects, like I said, no idle, no execution. Free roam, use Chimera Pages for Sylvian Meditation, and Belligerent Lamb for the Bard's Harp. Other than that, no effects are needed. So thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked seeing how I constructed Bao Shin. What do you think? Do you like the way I constructed Bao Shin? Are you going to make your Shaolin look like him as well? What do you think of his story? If you haven't read his story, go check it out. A link will be in the description or in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. We'll see how that works out. And again, thank you for watching. And as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care.